start converting, you can't then use anything else. Now, obviously, once the money is in the Roth, you can't use that for education, but if they go to a master's and you want to keep contributing, I don't know if you can or cannot contribute to that same account, but you can always set up another one.
Mm-hmm.
There's no rule that says,
okay.
yeah,
For
so,
the same case.
yeah, because here's an example. Grandparents want to contribute to the 529.
Right.
Well, if they give the money to you and you contribute it, then you get the deduction, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what if the grandparent wants a deduction? They just set up a 529 with your child as a beneficiary, separate from you having your own for the child as beneficiary.
Mm-hmm.
So you can have multiple accounts.
Mm-hmm.
So I would think that if for some reason there was a restriction on funding the accounts after you start conversions, you could just start another one.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
And also, Rose has a yearly limit, right? So if, say, we convert to the 12, does that count it as the yearly limit?
Yes.
Okay.
So the thing a lot of people don't realize is that even if you're funding out of pocket, right? So if let's say you have a child in private school right now, but you've never really had a 529 plan, you can put money into the 529 plan, let it sit there for 14 days, and then pull it out and pay the tuition. So I have a client, his 2 kids in private school, he's paying north of $20,000 a year for their education, and I said, hey, you have a 529? He said, no. And I'm like, well, why not? He's like, well, why would I? And I'm like, okay, well, we can take $20,000 a year, put it in this 529 plan, you pay the tuition, then you reimburse yourself, and we just saved you $1,400 in South Carolina taxes. So if I told you you can pay $20,000 for their education or $18,400, $18,600, which would you choose? Obviously the lower one. So you can move money in and out of this, even if your kid's currently in college or currently in private school. You don't have to have it saved up for a long time in advance. Now, ideally, you would invest it when they're young and let it grow, because that's the benefit.
大家他刚才所说的这个听懂了吗？他就是说，打个比方，如果哪怕你就是说没有马上就是存进去，就是说你没有长期给这个孩子存，但你就是说现在就想减税的话，你现在就可以存到529的里面去，等2个星期14天之后，再用这个来付他的这个学费的话，你都是减了你的这个南卡州的税的 ，OK。而这一点就是为什么大家都说。富人他的收入很高，为什么他的税低一些？就是因为他们知道怎么用这些规则来合法减税 ，OK？ 所以529就是说，如果现在就有孩子在私校的，这个现在立刻马上就可以用了 ，OK？
And I want to come back to your last question.
Yeah, you can add it.
Okay. About the conversion. So I don't believe it's going to impact your ability to fund it because there's no limit on converting it. So you had $100,000 in a regular IRA, you can convert the whole amount and then still fund the Roth IRA if you wanted to. So I don't think converting this over would impact your child's ability to fund it on top of it because it's a conversion.
Oh, okay.
It's not a contribution, it's a conversion, and that's the difference. So I don't think it would impact it.
Okay, so the only limit is the yearly.
Yeah, they limit the yearly amount
Right.
by whatever the annual limit is for that 529. But that should be separate from your child wanting to contribute their own money if they're working, right?
Right.
So I don't think converting this would impact their ability to contribute.
But
if
it's
they
kind
want
of
to.
loophole if there's no limit, right? So you just say contribute
Oh, there's a lot of-
to the 529 and then immediately convert it to RA.
Well, there are time frames, right? It has to be.
Oh,
there's-
7,000 per year, right?
Yeah.
Correct, but
For
you
5
also
years.
have to have it for a certain period of time, meaning you can't just start it now and then convert it tomorrow, right? I think you have to have it, I want to say it's 5 years at least.
5 years.
So you have,
know better than
you
me.
have the 529 for 5 years and then you can start converting.
Yeah.
Oh,
So like in certain, like there's a lot of, I mean, we can get very into the weeds of trying to be high level, but we've had parents that fund these accounts because they make too much money to fund a Roth. They fund a 529 for themselves, wait the 5 years, and then start converting it to a Roth. So with no intention of actually going to school, right? So you can manipulate loopholes as much as you want, as long as they're available.
So even though the kids already graduated, you can still keep contributing to 529?
Yeah, I mean, because parents might go to school too. Right? If I wanted to go to school tomorrow, I can contribute to a 529 for myself if I wanted to, right? There's no age restriction. It's just, it's like the question becomes, well, why would you, right? If there's other vehicles or other things that make more sense, right?
Right.
Now, the scenario I mentioned with the parent funding it, well, they're maxing out all the retirement accounts, doing everything else, and they're like, well, I don't have anywhere else that's tax efficient. Well, hey, here's an idea. We could put $35,000 into a 529 plan for you, wait 5 years, and then start converting it. I mean, it's not the first thing I'm going to go to, right? But if you're running out of options, then
Right.
That's a good question. Actually, when you converted 529 to Roth, the kid had to work. They had to earn.
you have to have earned income.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's not free converted， 就是不是互相就很容易转过去的，是有一个要求的。首先每年呢不能多于7000块钱，7000块钱是 Roth II 正常 contribution limit， 就不能超过它。另外就是还是必须有 earned income 要工作才能 convert。像你这样说的说，一边 convert 一边再往那个 world 里加钱，not good idea，is not the IRS intent， 不是这个。那你直接开个 Roth II 就好了。
对。
So you have to work to do those. I thought you have to
You
work.
have to have earned income to
Earned income.
contribute to any retirement account.
So many details.
Yeah.
Yeah. My question is, I'm a grandparent, pay granddaughter this 529, but not here because my daughter living in Tennessee. I pay directly to my granddaughter's 529. But I got a pension from California, not making any money here. So now I'm living here. Every year I don't have any tax income deduction from here, this state. I do file tax income, but always zero because I don't earn any money from this state. Can I do this? Even I do this, what's the point? I don't pay any tax.
If you don't pay any tax, the main reason to do it would be to have an education fund for them, and as it grows, like the money that grows on top of it. So if you put in 10,000 and it grows to 20,000, well, now that additional amount is tax free, right? So that would be the reason. But if you're not, I mean, the primary reason to do this is for education planning, not the tax deduction. The tax deduction is just a nice added benefit,
I know.
right? So if there are scenarios, and I believe South Carolina is one of the states where if I've had people that have moved here and they've had 529s in other states, and you can roll in the benefit from the other state in South Carolina, a lot of times they'll give you some deduction on the rollover, right? But if you're not paying any South Carolina taxes, then you won't get a tax benefit. So the only reason to fund it would be for the tax-free distributions would be the only reason.
Okay, yeah, I'm thinking maybe helping my children in other state because they put money in their children's account, 529. And then I heard last lawyer, he said something about there is a limit, I don't know, for the parents. And then grandparents can set up the separate account, and then they can, they don't have that limit. And then they can contribute to the grandchildren. So I don't know, this, I'm not.
So, the limits are on like the total account value contribution per beneficiary, right? So if the grandchild is the beneficiary, like you couldn't max it out and the parents also max it out. There's a total per beneficiary, right? So then, I don't know if that's what he was referring to.
Yeah, well, only one grandchild.
Lucky grandchild.
Yeah, well, Well, and again, if you have more grandchildren, you can always transfer account balances to other kids and other grandkids. So if there's unused, if there's unused money in a 529 plan, you can transfer it to family, next generation. You can make sure that somebody gets it. What you really want to try not to do is to pull money back out for yourself, because then you're going to have to pay taxes and some penalties, which can.
So question, talking about transfer, I know you can transfer between, brothers, sisters. Can you transfer back to yourself? So say I want to take.
They would have to transfer it to you, right? If you transfer it to them, you can't take it back. So if you transfer to them.
No, I mean, I contribute to the kids, right?
Yeah.
So if say later I want to pursue some further education.
Yeah. I don't see any reason why they could. Now, again, whoever you transferred it to, right? Whoever the custodian on that account is. So if it's like you have a nephew, right?
Right.
So their parent
Mhm.
would have to decide to transfer it back to you at some point.
Okay.
I would assume is how that works. I mean, I've never been presented with that question, but
But also, also, I know, like, unused balance, old brother can transfer to the younger brother's account, right?
yeah,
Can we
any
do the-
family.
Can do the reverse,
So can you transfer it from the
from
younger?
younger to older?
Yeah, I don't believe that there's any restrictions of only being able to transfer it one time,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So, but again, whoever the custodian or, of that account, so whoever the parent is, because
Mhm.
most of the time the beneficiaries are minors, now
Right.
they're adults, but whoever's in charge of that account
Mhm.
has to be the one to transfer. I'm not aware of any rules on the limits of only moving it once or, twice. As far as I know, there's no limits to it.
Okay, so when you do the transfer, if, say, the parent control the two accounts for the kids, you can just transfer anytime?
Yeah.
Do you need to file?
No, I mean, you'll probably get a distribution form, but that's where the tax guys come in, and because like it's the same thing when you roll money from one retirement account to another, you get a distribution form, but on your taxes, you're going to just check a box that says that you enrolled it into another account or moved it over. Like you'll get a distribution form most likely,
Mhm.
but then you just check a box that says it wasn't a real distribution, it was a rollover or a transfer.
Oh,
You had to use for qualified education expenses.
mhm.
People received transfer. They had to use it for education expenses.
He's talking about just moving it from one account, like between siblings.
They want to transfer for fun to do it.
Yeah, well, but there's a difference between I'm taking money out to pay an expense,
Mhm.
right? And then you probably have to show what the expense is.
Yeah.
Or if I'm just moving money back and forth,
Mhm.
you don't want to have to, you're not telling them what expense. It's just moving money to roll over. But there's probably some, you might know better than I would. There's some on the
You
tax
can
board.
have
that
to
said-
make a note.
Yeah.
You didn't spend this money.
Yeah, it was just a transfer.
Okay, let's move on because
Okay.
we are.
Yeah. So